Welcome back to our channel, and thank you for tuning in and thank you for supporting us. But if you have not subscribed yet, please encourage us by doing so. And God bless Biafra. Fulani terrorist clerics mocked gullible Nigerians that the Fulani Caliphate used Buhari's deceptive character to deceive power-hungry southern Nigerian politicians and gullible Nigerians to grab political powers in order to override their sovereignty and deny their self-determination. The Fulani terrorist cleric vowed never to relinquish power to the South or Christians because this is the brightest chance for Fulani Caliphate to Fulanize and Islamize Nigeria and Biafra, since the United Kingdom and United States governments don't care about what the Fulani terrorists and their Fulani terrorist soldiers and Nigerian governments are doing against Biafra and other indigenous tribes in Nigeria. They don't care. As long as they have free access to Biafran oil and gas and other mineral resources in Biafra land and Nigeria are not interrupted by the Fulani Nigerian government and the compromised and greedy Niger Delta militants, whom the Fulani Nigerian government have bought over with crumbs in order to stop Biafran restoration struggle for independence. The Fulani Caliphate came prepared in 2015, and as soon as Buhari took over power in 2015, the Fulani Janjaweed and their terrorists took over the Nigerian security agencies, and they got sophisticated weapons supplied to them from the United Kingdom, the United States, and China to help them execute their genocide agenda in Biafra land, especially Igbo land, whom they see as the Fulani Caliphate's greatest nightmare and obstacle to their Fulanization and Islamization agendas. Even with all the Fulani Nigerian government's sophisticated weapons and ammunitions, their Fulani terrorists, foot soldiers, were all chased out of Biafran forests by Eastern Security Network, and they were defeated and taught a bitter lesson by Eastern Security Network. Even their compromised Nigerian terrorists in Nigerian military uniforms were also disgraced and defeated. And now they have resorted into killing innocent Biafrans using the unknown gunmen strategy. They are also burning Biafran homes in frustration in order to make Biafrans desert their communities, their villages, so that the Fulani terrorists can come and occupy those villages and communities. Igbo politicians who are collaborating with these Fulani Nigerian jihadist governments to massacre Igbos are our number one enemy. They are the enemy, the biggest enemy we have in Biafra land. They are called enemy within. You know, in this world, it is not every country that works, and Nigeria is one of them because it's a fraudulent contraption. Nigeria is a multinational country consisting of a structure called Nigeria, placed on top of the ancestral lands of indigenous ethnic nations. It is a unitary structure created by the 1999 Constitution, a forgery foisted upon Nigerians. Its provisions produce the country that on 12th October 1960, ethnic supremacist, a Fulani terrorist, Ahmadu Bello, had described in his now infamous declaration, known colloquially as Fulani Agenda, a Nigeria that would be the estate of the immigrant settler Fulani Janjaweed, where the indigenous people would never be able to control their future, and their lands will be conquered territories. It is an agenda where, having grabbed power, the Fulani Janjaweed will override the sovereignty of indigenous ethnic nations and deny them their self-determination, thus a condition akin to slavery for indigenous people. Fulanization has been progressively achieved since 1966, when the military coups terminated the original negotiated Nigeria. Today, Fulanization is ruthlessly achieved through the 1999 Constitution by producing a hostile and dangerous constitutional arrangement. Thus, this unitary structure called Nigeria, imposed upon the land of indigenous people, is really the conquered territory, slave camp of Ahmadu Bello's declaration. In a slave camp, the facilities will always be inadequate. That is why unitary Nigeria always defies development. No matter the size of the budget, the funds will not be used to improve infrastructure or public or social services. The lives of Nigerians, their past, their present, and especially their future, need to be seen and interpreted through Ahmadu Bello's declaration, because that is what is happening to them. Ahmadu Bello also said that his conquest agenda, that is the Fulanization agenda, would advance by the complicity of willing tools. Willing tools are indigenous individuals, for example, Łezʲ and Dave Umehi, OĽiÚzọr and the rest of them, who have authority or influence over their people, so they are able to manipulate or coerce them in ways that benefit Fulanization. Thus, willing tools are typically politicians, civil servants, religious leaders, heads of NGOs or CSOs, journalists, plus influencers. Their role is to miseducate and deceive the people into thinking that they have a democracy, or that a democracy is even possible under a fraudulent anti-blackness constitutional arrangement. Plus, willing tools need to say or do what will keep their structure, non-negotiated Nigeria, imposed upon the land, thus promote unity, but not the inalienable right of sovereignty and self-determination. Here's a simple illustration to make things very plain about Nigeria. Picture this: a slave camp. There will be a lack of facilities and lack of everything, and a squalor because the builder of the camp is a slave master, like the Fulani Janjaweed. But he has employed some of the slaves, for example, Igbo governors and Biafran politicians, as his foremen to govern on his behalf. The foreman gets to eat well, dress well, and get to drive around in big cars. The slaves can vote for which foreman they want to be in charge of any particular sector, every 4 years, they have 4 months election, which is the Fulani fraudulent selection process they call Nigeria elections. But they are controlled by the slave masters, that is the Fulani Caliphate, who decides who becomes a candidate, plus vote counting is done by him. Thus, every 4 years, each contesting foreman promises good governance, restructuring, and economic transformation, and insists that the slave camp's problem is bad leadership. So all that is needed is is having a good man as foreman, which means getting a good leader in place. Astonishingly, the gullible slaves actually believe that. But how can they ever have a good leader or good governance while they remain in a slave camp? They need to leave it first. That is why Nigerian disintegration is very important. Then, as free men with sovereignty and self-determination, create systems of their own for good governance and good leadership. Thank you, my brothers and my sisters, for watching this video, and bye-bye for now.